وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. وبعد. I apologize for starting late. Inshallah, we'll get through a lot today. Today, inshallah, we're going to be covering the 19th juz, and we'll see how much we get into it in the 20th. Inshallah, we're going to start with Ash-Shu'ara. Ash-Shu'ara is the plural of Ash-Sha'ir. Ash-Sha'ir is a poet, right? So in the story towards the end of the surah, it talks a little bit about poets, and poets had a very big role to play in society. But the majority of the time, the poets would only talk, incite others, but they wouldn't really do anything. But then when Islam came, right, the poets also played an important role, but their role was backed by action. Based on truth and backed by action. So inshallah, we'll go through, and if this surah, for the Hufad, sometimes it's difficult to recite because there's a lot of stories of the prophets which are very similar to different portions of the Quran which I've already mentioned.
Poets. The Meccan surah which takes its name from the reference to the poets in verse 224. It talks about the disbelievers who belittle the Quran and give examples of God's power and grace in His creation. It recounts several stories of earlier prophets, the reaction of their people, and punishments that afflicted them, ending by confirming the divine origin of the Quran. It is not something brought down by the jinn, nor is it poetry, and the prophet is not a poet. In the name of God, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. These are the verses of the scripture that makes things clear. Prophet, are you going to worry yourself to death because they will not believe? If we had wished, we would have sent them down a sign from heaven, at which their necks would stay bowed in utter humiliation. Whenever they are brought a new revelation from the Lord of mercy, they turn away. They deny it, but the truth of what they scorn will soon hit them. Do they not see the earth, and what noble kinds of thing we grow in it? There truly is a sign in this, though most of them do not believe. Your Lord alone is the Almighty, the Merciful.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the beginning of the surah, He talks about the concern the Prophet ﷺ had for his ummah, and the Prophet ﷺ was very, very concerned in the sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, are you going to worry yourself to death because they will not believe? Right? And the Prophet ﷺ, he was very concerned and he wanted people to believe, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that's not in his hands. Right? That's the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever believes. This ayah, you'll see it over and over again. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً وَمَا كَانَ أَكْثَرُهُم مُؤْمِنِينَ وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. There truly is a sign in this, though most of them do not believe. Your Lord alone is the Almighty, the Merciful. Right? You'll see this after the story of all of the prophets that are mentioned in the surah. You'll see this ayah as like a closing point, because all of these stories are lessons for people, but most people, they ignore these signs. They ignore these lessons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Almighty, meaning He's stern in His punishment to those that reject these lessons, and He's merciful to those that learn from these stories. Right? This is how you understand this, and you'll see this over and over again.
Your Lord called to Moses, go to those wrongdoers, the people of Pharaoh. Will they not take heed? Moses said, my Lord, I fear they will call me a liar, and I will feel stressed and tongue-tied. So send Aaron too. Besides, they have a charge against me, and I fear they may kill me. God said, no, they will not. Go both of you with our signs. We shall be with you, listening. Go both of you to Pharaoh and say, we bring a message from the Lord of the worlds. Let the children of Israel leave with us. Pharaoh said, did we not bring you up as a child among us? Did you not stay with us for many years? And then you committed that crime of yours? You were so ungrateful. Moses replied, I was misguided when I did it, and I fled from you in fear. Later my Lord gave me wisdom and made me one of his messengers. And is this that you have enslaved the children of Israel, the favor with which you reproach me? Pharaoh asked, what is this Lord of the worlds? Moses replied, he is the Lord of the heavens and earth, and everything between them. If you would only have faith. Pharaoh said to those present, do you hear what he says? Moses said, he is your Lord and the Lord of your forefathers. Pharaoh said, this messenger who has been sent to you is truly possessed. Moses continued, Lord of the east and west and everything between them, if you would only use your reason. But Pharaoh said to him, if you take any god other than me, I will throw you into prison. And Moses asked, even if I show you something convincing? Show it then, said Pharaoh, if you are telling the truth. So Moses threw down his staff, and lo and behold, it became a snake for everyone to see. Then he drew out his hand, and lo and behold, it was white for the onlookers to see. Pharaoh said to the counselors around him, this man is a learned sorcerer. He means to use his sorcery to drive you out of your land. What do you suggest? They answered, delay him and his brothers for a while, and send messengers to all the cities, to bring every accomplished sorcerer to you. The sorcerers were to be assembled at an appointed time on a certain day. And the people were asked, are you all coming? We may follow the sorcerers if they win. When the sorcerers came, they said to Pharaoh, shall we be rewarded if we win? And he said, yes, and you will join my inner court. Moses said to them, throw down whatever you will. They threw down their ropes and staffs, saying, by Pharaoh's might we shall be victorious. But Moses threw his staff, and lo and behold, it swallowed up their trickery. And the sorcerers fell down on their knees, exclaiming, we believe in the Lord of the worlds, the Lord of Moses and Aaron. Pharaoh said, how dare you believe in him before I have given you permission? He must be the master who taught you sorcery. Soon you will see. I will cut off your alternate hands and feet, and then crucify the lot of you. That will do us no harm, they said, for we are sure to return to our Lord. We hope that our Lord will forgive us our sins, as we were the first to believe.
Yeah, no. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is discussing the story of Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun. And again, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Musa alayhi salam to go to Fir'aun, he was hesitant, he was reluctant, and he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to strengthen him by sending Harun alayhi salam with him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered his dua. So when they went to Fir'aun, he said that, أَلَمْ نُرَبِّكَ فِينَا وَلِيدًا وَلَبِثْتَ فِينَا مِنْ عُمُرِكَ سِنِينَ. Didn't we raise you in our house? Right? And didn't you live among us? So Musa alayhi salam said, yeah, this happened. But you did this one good deed. Does that justify you enslaving all of Bani Israel? Right? So the concept of man, right? And this is a Fir'auni trait, is when you do something good for somebody, you try to remind that person that you did a good thing for them. You try to lord that thing over that person, saying that because I did this good thing for you, now I own you. Now you're indebted to me. Right? And this is something that we cannot do. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى كالذي ينفق ماله رئاء الناس ولا يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه تراب فأصابه وابل فتركه صلدا لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not ruin your sadaqah by practicing this concept of man. What is man? It's like riyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala compares it to a rock. A rock which has dirt on it, right? And the dirt on that rock is the traces of the sadaqah, like the reward that you expect from giving sadaqah. But when you have man, when you do man, when you try to say, remember that money that I gave you? Remember that favor I did for you? Remember I did this for you and I did that for you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that man is like a rain that comes down, heavy rain on the rock, and the dirt's on the rock, and it wipes that dirt off of the rock. So then what's on the rock? Is there any dirt left on the rock? No, the ruins and traces of a person's sadaqah. So here, Fir'aun is saying that, oh, I did this for you, now you're coming and challenging my authority? So Musa alayhi salam is saying, I'm not challenging your authority, and all I'm saying is to let Bani Israel go. Then Fir'aun says, the questions that he asked, all right, who is this Lord of yours? So Musa alayhi salam said, He is the Lord of heavens and the earth and everything in between. So Fir'aun goes to his people and he says, do you hear what this guy is saying? Do you hear what he's saying? So Musa alayhi salam said, not only is he your Lord and my Lord, but he's the Lord of all of you and your fathers as well. Alright? If you claim to be Lord, who created your fathers, the one who came before you? So then he said, I think this guy's insane. So he said he's the Lord of the east and the west. Right? If you use your understanding. Right? Because fine, you had control over Egypt. But who has control outside of Egypt as well? That was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, okay, look, he said, if he takes any other God besides me, I'm going to imprison him. So Musa alayhi salam said, even if I bring clear signs, he said, bring some clear signs if you can. So he threw down his stick and it turned into a snake. He took his hand out and it was glowing. Then he said, okay, this is magic. Alright, in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Fir'aun is the one that said that this is magic. In Surah A'raf, who did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say are the ones that said it's magic? Remember? قال الملأ من قوم فرعون إن هذا لساحر عليم. The advisors. The advisors. So what does that mean? The advisors and Fir'aun, they were on the same page here. Right? They were on the exact same thing. They were saying and thinking the same thing. Right? One time he said that he wants to drive you out of your land. Another time in Surah Taha, the advisor said that these two people, they want to take over your land and your power. So you see that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala one time, He says that story from the perspective of Fir'aun, and another time He says a perspective from the advisors. That's why it's very important for us to have good advisors. People around us that give us good advice, rather than just tell us or think, they say, okay, I know he wants to hear that, so let me just tell him what he wants to hear, rather than guiding him to the truth. So then after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Fir'aun, he told the people, okay, gather all the magicians, and وَقِيلَ لِلنَّاسِ هَلْ أَنْتُمْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ لَعَلَّنَا نَتَّبِعِ السَّحَرَةَ إِنْ كَانُوا هُمُ الْغَالِبِينَ. It was also like a public campaign. People would go around and say, look, are you going to come to the showdown? Right? You're going to see what's happening. This guy's claiming he's challenging Fir'aun's authority. And let's see, they're going to put him in his place. All of the magicians from all over Egypt are going to come, and they're going to show this guy what's up. They're going to take him down and things like that. And we're going to follow the magicians, and they're going to have. And when the magicians came, before this, they said, what are you going to give us if we're victorious? And he said, you'll be close to me. That's all he said. Only thing they wanted power, status. And here it says that when they even threw it down, they said, وَقَالُوا بِعِزَّةِ فِرْعَوْنَ إِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الْغَالِبُونَ. They said, by the might and strength of Fir'aun, we are the ones that are victorious. We are the ones that are the strongest. So when they threw it down, right, it was something which was, on a worldly scale, it was something that greatest magic this world has seen. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was on the side of Musa alayhi salam. And so in Taha, we see that Musa alayhi salam, when he saw this, فَأَوْجَسَ فِي نَفْسِهِ خِيفَةَ مُوسَى قُلْنَا لَا تَخَفْ إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْأَعْلَى. Inside of Musa alayhi salam, like in his core, he's just like, even though he believes, when he saw it, he's like, oh no, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَا تَخَفْ. Don't be scared. You are going to be victorious. So Musa alayhi salam threw down what he had, and it swallowed up the ropes and the snakes and whatever that they had. And the magicians, they made sajda, right? When Fir'aun was defeated, what do people do when they lose an argument usually? They resort to threats. They resort to insults. So he said, okay, this is your master sorcerer. He's the one that taught all of you. And now you guys all were on a conspiracy. And now I'm going to crucify you. I'm going to kill you and things like that. So you see how Iman entered their hearts. They said, قَالُوا لَا ضَيْبٍ إِنَّا إِلَىٰ رَبِّنَا مُنْقَلِبُونَ. It's like, whatever you do, it doesn't matter to us. Alright? We're going to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do kill us, you know what? We'll go to Jannah early. We'll be among the shuhada. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He rewards us more because we're the first ones of these people to believe. So you see how Iman enters their hearts. Right? And see, what were they? They came to try to destroy Musa alayhi salam. They came with the intention of destroying the message of Musa alayhi salam and challenging the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's in control of the hearts. And what did they end up doing? They ended up submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and being among the first of the believers in the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam.
Then we revealed our will to Moses. Leave with my servants by night, for you will be pursued. Pharaoh sent messengers into the cities, proclaiming, "These people are a puny band. They have enraged us, and we are a large enemy on the alert." And we are a large army on the alert. So it was that we made them leave their gardens and their springs, their treasures and their noble dwellings. We gave such things later to the children of Israel. Pharaoh and his people pursued them at sunrise. And as soon as the two sides came within sight of one another, Moses' followers said, "We shall definitely be caught." Moses said, "No, my Lord is with me. He will guide me." And he revealed to Moses, "Strike the sea with your staff." It parted, each side like a mighty mountain, and we brought the others to that place. We saved Moses and all his companions, and drowned the rest. There truly is a sign in this, though most of them do not believe. Your Lord alone is the Almighty, the Merciful.
So Musa alayhi salam was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to leave with his people during the night. And when he left with his people, Fir'aun and his people followed them. And they said, "Inna ha'ulai la shirdimatun qalilun wa innahum lana laghaidun wa inna la jami'un hadirun." He said, this is a very small group of people, right? They've enraged us, and we are a big army. So when they followed them, right, Musa alayhi salam and the people, they got to the sea. And then some of Musa alayhi salam's people said, "Inna la mudrakun." They're going to catch us. What are we going to do? So Musa alayhi salam said, "Qala kalla inna ma'i rabbi sayahdi." My Lord is with me and He's going to guide me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired him to take his stick and hit the sea. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala parted the sea, right, into like big places where they would have ample space to walk. And He saved Musa alayhi salam and his people, and he drowned Fir'aun. The reason I wrote, "My Lord is with me," is because remember, a similar situation happened in the Ghar, right? Ghar Thawr, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu were making hijrah. And they felt, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu felt like the Quraysh and the Mushrikun are going to catch up to them. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, he said, "La tahzan, inna Allah ma'ana." He said, and tahzan it's different from khawf. Khawf is when you're worried about yourself. Huzn is when you're scared or worried about someone else. So the Prophet ﷺ, think about this. He told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he didn't tell him, "Don't be scared for yourself." He said, "La tahzan, don't worry about me." And then why? What did he say? Instead of saying Allah is with me, the Prophet ﷺ told Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, "Inna Allah ma'ana," Allah is with us. So you see the virtue of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, you see the virtue of the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as opposed to Bani Israel, where Musa alayhi salam, what were the words that he used? He said, "My Lord is with me, and He's going to guide me." And as a favor to Musa alayhi salam, He guided the rest of Bani Israel. But because of Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, and the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah is with the ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at all times. So you see a difference over there. And then again, "Inna fi dhalika la'aya wa ma kana aktharuhum mu'minin wa inna rabbaka lahuwal azizur rahim." In this whole story, there are very, very clear signs, right? But most people don't believe in them. Wa inna rabbaka lahuwal azizur rahim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is stern, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mighty, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving and merciful. Who did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show His mercy to in the story? The believers. Who was He stern with? Who was He strict with? The disbelievers. So we learn this from the story as well. Next, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to discuss the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, how Ibrahim alayhi salam went to his father and his people, and he talked to them about the idols that they worshipped, and he talked to them about who Ibrahim alayhi salam worshipped.
Tell them the story of Abraham. When he asked his father and his people, "What do you worship?" They said, "We worship idols and are constantly in attendance on them." He asked, "Do they hear you when you call? Do they help or harm you?" They replied, "No, but this is what we saw our fathers doing." Abraham said, "These idols you have worshipped, you and your forefathers, are my enemies. Not so the Lord of the worlds, who created me. It is He who guides me. He who gives me food and drink, He who cures me when I am ill, He who will make me die and then give me life again, and then He who will, I hope, forgive my faults on the day of judgment. My Lord, grant me wisdom, join me with the righteous, give me a good name among later generations, make me one of those given the garden of bliss. Forgive my father, for he is one of those who have gone astray, and do not disgrace me on the day when all people are resurrected, the day when neither wealth nor children can help, when the only one who will be saved is the one who comes before God with a heart devoted to Him. When the garden is brought near to the righteous and the fire is placed in full view of the misguided, it will be said to them, where are those you worship beside God? Can they help you now or even help themselves? And then they will all be hurled into hell, together with those that misled them, and all Iblis' supporters. There they will say to their gods as they bicker among themselves, we were clearly misguided when we made you equal with the Lord of the worlds. It was the evildoers who led us astray, and now we have no intercessor and no true friend. If only we could live our lives again, we would be true believers. There truly is a sign in this, though most of them do not believe. Your Lord alone is the Almighty, the Merciful.
It's a very, very beautiful passage of Surah Ash-Shu'ara. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Right, tell them the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. So when he went to his father and his people, هَلْ يَسْمَعُونَكُمْ إِذْ تَدْعُونَ أَوْ يَنْفَعُونَكُمْ أَوْ يَضُرُّونَ. Right, do they hear you when you make dua to them? Can they benefit you? Can they harm you? Right? Then he tells them that فَإِنَّهُمْ عَدُوٌّ إِلَّا رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ. All of your objects of worship are enemies to me, إِلَّا رَبَّ الْعَالَمِينَ, except for the Lord of the worlds. So what does this mean? He makes an exception to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means that yes, they did worship idols. They did worship idols, but they also worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, all of the gods that you have are enemies to me, except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? الَّذِي خَلَقَنِي فَهُوَ يَهْدِينِ. The one who has created me and he will guide me. وَالَّذِي هُوَ يُطْعِمُنِي وَيَسْقِينِ. The one who provides my food and drink. وَإِذَا مَرِضْتُ فَهُوَ يَشْفِينِ. The one, subhanahu wa ta'ala, when I become sick, He's the one that cures me. وَالَّذِي يُمِيتُنِي ثُمَّ يُحْيِينِ. The one who will cause me to die and bring me back to life. وَالَّذِي أَطْمَعُ أَن يَغْفِرَ لِي خَطِيئَتِي يَوْمَ الدِّينِ. The one I hope will forgive my sins on the day of judgment. Then he makes dua. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي حُكْمًا وَالْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ. Oh Allah, grant me wisdom and make me join among the righteous. وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ. Oh Allah, let me have a good name, a good reputation in the future generations. And we know that Ibrahim alayhi salam, among even Muslims, Christians, Jews, he has a great reputation. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Right? وَاجْعَلْ لِي لِسَانَ صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ وَادْخِلْنِي مِنْ جَنَّةِ. Yeah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and make me among those that have been entered into Jannah, and then forgive my father, for he is one of those that have gone astray. Right? This dua, we know in Surah Tawbah, he was prevented from making it, but at this time he was allowed to make it. وَلَا تُخْزِنِي يَوْمَ يُبْعَثُونَ. Do not disgrace me on the day of judgment. يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. The day on which a person's wealth nor their children will benefit them, except for a person that comes with a clear and devoted and a pure heart. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking about when the garden is brought close, when Jannah is brought close, when Jahannam is brought close, right? What are people going to do? They're going to see the fire and they're going to say, when they enter the fire, they're not going to have any friends, they're not going to have any intercessors, and then they say that إِذْ نُسَوِّيكُمْ بِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. They said we were in clear error. Not when we preferred our gods to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's not what they say. What do they say? Read the sentence of the ayah again. 97. We were clearly misguided when we made you equal with the Lord of the worlds. So it's not that, if people say that they believe in other gods besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is shirk. Okay? But even if they say, okay, yeah, we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one, but we believe in something else as 1A. That's still shirk. Do you understand that? Because you can't make Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala above and beyond anyone or anything else subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the creator, everyone else is his creation. He is the only one that deserves to be worshipped. And you see the conversation. They'll say, look, we took you as gods. They will say to their gods as they bicker among themselves, we were clearly misguided when we made you equal with the Lord of the worlds. It was the evildoers that led us astray, and we have no intercessor and no true friend. Right? And then they'll say, if we were sent back, right? If we had another chance, we would be among the true believers. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioning all this, what does He say? إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً وَمَا كَانَ أَكْثَرُهُم مُؤْمِنِينَ وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. Again, He says that in this conversation, in the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, there are many, many lessons. But most people don't believe. So it's important for us to be among the believers and say that, look, we all have opportunities. We all have opportunities to be among the believers. We don't have to taste the punishment. We don't have to see the punishment for us to want to go back. We have to learn from this passage and submit ourselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the story of Nuh alayhi salam.
The people of Nuh too called the messengers liar. Their brother Nuh said to them, will you not be mindful of God? I am a faithful messenger sent to you. Be mindful of God and obey me. I ask no reward of you, for my only reward is with the Lord of the worlds. Be mindful of God and obey me. They answered, why should we believe you when the worst sort of people follow you? He said, what knowledge do I have of what they used to do? It is for my Lord alone to bring them to account. If only you could see. I will not drive believers away. I am only here to give people a clear warning. So they said, Nuh, if you do not stop this, you will be stoned. He said, my Lord, my people have rejected me. So make a firm judgment between me and them, and save me and my believing followers. So he saved him and his followers in the fully laden ship, and drowned the rest. There truly is a sign in this, though most of them do not believe. Your Lord alone is the Almighty, the Merciful.
You'll see the common theme. Right now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the next few paragraphs or next few ayat, He's going to talk about the story of Nuh alayhi salam, going to talk about the story of Hud alayhi salam, Salih alayhi salam, Lut alayhi salam, Shu'aib alayhi salam. You'll see the common theme between all of these prophets is that they call people to taqwa, they call people to the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they call people to follow the messenger. Okay? And they don't ask. You'll see it again and again. وَمَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ أَجْرٍ إِنْ أَجْرِيَ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. We're not asking you for any payment. We're not asking you for any worldly benefit. Our reward is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then each of the prophets والسلام, will address the issue that was taking place in the society at the time that they were sent to. So Nuh alayhi salam, the reason that people didn't want to follow him is because they said the poor and the weak, the lowest segment of society are the ones that follow you. So Nuh alayhi salam, he said that وَمَا عِلْمِي بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ إِنْ حِسَابُهُمْ لَعَلَىٰ رَبِّي لَوْ تَشْعُرُونَ. He said, what do I know about what they do? All I know is that they've submitted, they're honest, they're hardworking. Who's going to judge them? I'm not going to judge them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to judge them, and I'm not going to get rid of them. Right? If your condition on me to follow me is that you want me to get rid of these poor people, the people that are in the lower classes of society, he said that's not something I can do. That's not a compromise that I'm willing to make. Right? So you see he stuck to his principles, and then he made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after 950 years of calling them during the day, calling them during the night, calling them publicly, calling them privately, as we'll talk about in Surah Nuh. So salam. Then he said, Allah make a judgment between me and them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved him and his followers, right, in the ark, and he drowned the rest. Then at the end of the story, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say again? إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً وَمَا كَانَ أَكْثَرُهُم مُؤْمِنِينَ وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. Same thing, there's a lesson in this. But most people don't take the lesson. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Almighty, and He's also merciful subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? The reason this is saying is because sometimes even the Hufaz, when they're reading the surah, it's like, okay, which إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَةً is it? What's the story that comes next? But you see all of them end with this. And when we say that the Quran is a book to ponder on, to reflect on, to learn from, if we don't learn lessons from these stories, when Allah is telling us there's a lesson here, learn this lesson, then we have no one to blame but ourselves. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to learn from the Quran and to benefit from the Quran. Ameen.
The people of Ad too called the messengers liars. Their brother Hud said to them, will you not be mindful of God? I am a faithful messenger sent to you. Be mindful of God and obey me. I ask no reward of you, for my only reward is with the Lord of the worlds. How can you be so vain that you set up monuments on every high place? Do you build fortresses because you hope to be immortal? Why do you act like tyrants whenever you attack someone? Be mindful of God and obey me. Be mindful of Him who has provided you with everything you know. He has given you livestock, sons, gardens, springs. For I truly fear for the torment of a grievous day will overtake you. They replied, it makes no difference to us whether you warn us or not, for we only do what our forefathers used to do. We shall not be punished. They denounced him as a liar, and so we destroyed them. There truly is a sign in this, though most of them do not believe. Your Lord alone is the Almighty, the Merciful.
You see the same theme. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He reminded, Hud alayhi salam reminded them of the favors. Right? He told them, don't be arrogant, don't be oppressive. Right? Everything that you have, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed you with. Everything that you know, right? You know how to build mountains, houses in the mountains. You know how to do all these things? Who taught you how to do that? Who blessed you with your children? Who blessed you with your livestock? Who blessed you with springs? All of these blessings. Who gave you all of these things? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So they said, don't worry, it doesn't matter. سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْنَا أَوَعَدْتَمْ لَمْ تَكُمْ مِنَ الْوَاعِدِينَ. It doesn't matter to us. Whether you warn us or not, we're not going to listen. إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا خُلُقُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. They said we're just going to follow the way of our forefathers, our ancestors. وَمَا نَحْنُ بِمُعَذَّبِينَ. And they challenged him and they said, we're not going to be punished. So you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is reminding us that whatever blessings we have, if we want to preserve the blessings that we have, we need to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember, He subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one that gives can also take. And He shows us from people of the past. That's why when you think about it, alright, remember He told, I know we talked about it here, but we'll talk about it in Surah Qasas. He said that Qarun's arrogant. Doesn't he know that we've given people that came before him so much more than he has? But what was their aqibah? What was their end result? So whatever you have, there's been people that have had more than you. But when they disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they became arrogant, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them. Wa'iyadu billah. May Allah protect us all and preserve the blessings, give us all the ability to preserve the blessings that we have. Amen.
The people of Thamud too call the messengers liars. Their brother Salih said to them, will you not be mindful of God? I am a faithful messenger to you. Be mindful of God and obey me. I ask no reward from you, for my only reward is with the Lord of the worlds. Do you think you'll be left secure forever in what you have here?